Finally, SGA, fresh off of an admission to club superstar. He finishes the game with 34, took over in the fourth. Here he is post-game.
There's a balance that you have to find. When to attack, when to pass, when to make the right play, when to not make the right play, and trust your skill. Something that I battle with a lot and try to be really good at. And a lot of great players battle with it and try to be really good at it. This was probably the most meaningful game I've played in my career. Game 7, my second year in the bubble. But, probably, I would say.
Clippers.
Yeah. Josh, special here. 39 and 7 assists in a best of 7. SGA, Joker twice, Luka twice, Giannis, LeBron, Russ,
How many
Jordan.
times for LeBron? Does that say 8? That's why.
Had a long career.
That's why. A lot of those guys played a long time.
Surprised SGA has been the best player in the series.
I am surprised, but man, this is how you convert skeptics. And I wasn't a full-blown skeptic, but a slight skeptic. I understood he had a great season. I never really even considered him as MVP candidate. I thought he was that next year. And I thought he was,
insane.
An ascending superstar, a guy who just became a superstar. Games like this, Brew, this is a season saver. In my opinion, we've had 3 season savers these playoffs. Maxey, Game 5. Now, they ended up losing the next one anyway. But the half-court shot and then the performance.
Right.
Joker, Game 4.
Yeah.
I think that was a season saver. And last night, I think it was a season saver by SGA. And the way he scored, I'm sure you loved. I assume you're going to talk about the shot selection, the mid-range, and all of that. And I'll leave that for you.
Effective.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, he has. I am surprised. All right. You thought I was going to say no.
No,
But
like it.
I am surprised because as great as SGA is, I had him third on my MVP ballot. He's going to be first team All-NBA. I had him first team All-NBA. But I don't consider him better than Luka.
Me
All
neither.
right. And in this series, Luka has the luxury of having a second superstar who not only is going to be a great player that's going to help you, but also is going to draw the attention of the defense. All right. And obviously, SGA, even if you just say Kyrie's a star, I mean, he has that second star that you have to worry about. SGA does not have that. And yet he's still getting it done when against a very good. They are now a very good defensive team. The
That's
Mavericks,
right.
since they made these trades, and he's still getting it done. Like you said, he's not much of a three-point shooter. He's only taken 11 threes in the series. You know he's either going to the rim or the mid-range, and they still can't stop him. And so he's been terrific. And here I'm gonna give him credit for this too, the rebounding.
Yeah.
He's averaging 9.8. He's leading the Thunder in rebounding in
they
this
need
series.
that. That's the
right.
one.
They're the third worst rebounding team in the league. All right. Dallas isn't an awesome rebounding team, but they're better than the Thunder.
Okay, so I forgot these guys had they gave OKC no chance, and they said that the Lakers were going to beat OKC if they faced them. I forgot about that when I'm just watching this clip right now, because I'm not surprised at all. Like, I was expecting them to be like, I'm not surprised, and then I forgot. They doubted OKC and SGA. I had SGA as the MVP. I don't have a vote, but I had him as the MVP. And I had OKC winning this series. Now, I admit it's definitely a lot closer than I originally thought it was going to be. I think OKC hasn't played their best basketball, but I also think that it's also their shots are just not falling, and it's not so much because of what Dallas is doing. Like, they're missing open looks, and Dallas isn't hitting their open looks, quite frankly. But Dallas has been a formidable foe, but I am not surprised one bit. Now, I have said in the past that I think SGA can struggle a little bit in playoff atmosphere because he is a smaller person. I understand he's 6'6", but he is not as big, as strong as some of these other guys. So it's harder for him to assert his, dominance, impose his will onto a game, let alone individual players. But he is so good and ridiculously good. And I love the culture that OKC has. But OKC does need to play bigger and stronger. They need, they Chet Holmgren and SGA and some of these other guys, they need to be more, they need to take up more space. They need to plant their feet and say, I am here. And they're not doing that as much. They did it more against the Pelicans than they have against Dallas. But SGA's game is so unbelievably good. So unbelievably good. And I think he needs to do more, quite honestly, because he needs to take over games more. He put up, what was that, 27 shots and 34 points. That's obviously great. But like, as I'm watching this game, I'm like, kind of like what I was thinking about with Ant versus the Nuggets. I'm like, SGA has to go for 40. Has to have a 45-point game. Like, he needs to be the guy who was taking all these shots because he is the best player on the court, and obviously definitely the best player for OKC. And so he needs to be taking those shots. And that he was kind of talking about in the press conference where he was saying sometimes you got to make the right play, and sometimes you make the wrong play. And when you make the wrong play, it's kind of like, I'm just going to take this now. I understand that guy's open, whoever it may be, but this is my moment. This is my team. I'm going to have to. The person who's more likely to get the ball in the basket right now is me. Even in a forced shot, I'm more likely to hit it than, say, whoever who's wide open, And that is what it comes down to. And it's something that really good, humble players struggle with sometimes, of taking over the game. And it's not to say that SGA doesn't take over a game or can't take over the game, but I'm watching that game, and the Dallas Mavericks shot terribly from the free throw line, right? That can't be ignored. But I just think that for the Thunder to be able to continue rolling and win this series, SGA does have to be a little bit more assertive. He has to make sure he gets the ball. If I was him, I would be like, he has to be shooting 30 shots minimum every single game. Like, seriously, because he is that good. He needs to take over. And that is the problem. This is what Brew was kind of saying, that there really is no consistent second in charge for OKC. There is no Kyrie. There is no other player that is just going to be able to drop 25, 30 points just like that. And that is a problem. That's why I'm saying SGA has to take over. He has to be like putting up 35 points, 40 points, 45 points, which again, very easy to say, a lot more difficult to do. And you don't want to force those shots too much, because then you don't let the game come to you. You fall out of rhythm. Other players get disengaged, and you don't want to miss out on some of the other plays getting involved, because quite frankly, especially in basketball, you need those role players to get hot. You need Joe, you need these other players to be able to knock down their threes, get going. That's how all these teams end up winning, quite honestly. Especially, how many times have you watched a playoffs or a series where it's some player that the most people don't even know who they are from the opposing team or your own team even, and they go 3 for 3 from 3, and you're just like, oh my god, that guy averages 5 points a game, and not even 5 points a game, and plays 8 minutes a game, and now he's knocking down threes like he's Steph Curry. That happens every single series since the beginning of time. And so you need that, and you lose that when you do start forcing up shots, and it just becomes the SGA show, the Iverson show, the Kobe show. So that is the risk of taking over a game. We saw that a little bit with the Timberwolves versus the Nuggets with Ant. But the truth is, no one else was stepping up. No one else was doing anything, and Ant did have to practically go for 40, 50 points to win that game, and they still ended up losing. So I think OKC is definitely in this interesting situation. I think it goes a very long way to win at home, and it needs to be a more convincing win. Because right now, at this point, it's obviously easy to say because it's 2-2, but it is a toss-up to me at this point. It really is. Is Luka going to be hot? Is Luka going to be putting up 30 points, or is he going to have another 18-point game? If he has another 18-point game, I got OKC winning this series. But if Luka can kind of get the ball going and get some momentum going, then it's like, I don't know. Is anyone else going to step up for OKC? So this series has definitely not unfolded the way how I ever thought it was going to be. I thought OKC was going to win a lot more convincing, but they seemed, what I also see is, and I feel this way about all the teams right now, really, but specifically the Western Conference, everyone looks tired. OKC looks tired. Dallas looks tired. The Nuggets look tired. The Timberwolves look tired. They all look like that they're playing in Denver at altitude. Seriously. I'm watching these games, and that's all I keep thinking. Everybody looks gassed and tired, which is really fascinating to see. I can't remember if I've had that feeling watching previous games, over the years. But this definitely just, I don't know if they're what it is right now. But if anyone else is kind of getting that sense as well, because when I'm watching these games, I'm like, everybody looks tired. And it's been I haven't seen anyone else talk about it. So maybe it's just the way it's coming through the broadcast. I don't know, but I just see people, they just look tired to me. They really, really do. But so yeah, this series has definitely been fun to watch. It's been unpredictable from my viewpoint. 2-2 is not how I would have ever thought. I thought maybe the OKC would have won in 5, but I guess still technically either of these teams could win in 6. I know Skip Bayless had them going to 7. I think he said he has OKC winning in 7, and I originally said no way, that's insane. And now I'm like, well, hey, that actually could absolutely happen. Honestly, either team could win in 7. So this has been a really, really fun series, and in no way should anyone be surprised that SGA is the best player in this series so far. No one. And to think that he was not at the top of all these people's ballots for MVP is nonsense. And it just proves that you're not really watching OKC, or you don't care about these other markets, that you're just rather talk about LeBron James and the Lakers and all these other larger market teams, because SGA has been balling out. And they just admitted, this is what's crazy to me, this will be my last point, he just admitted that OKC doesn't have some of the support that these other guys have, specifically talking about Dallas Mavericks. And yet OKC went to the number 1 seed. So what does that tell you? That tells you that SGA is the most valuable player by definition. He is more valuable than a Luka, than a Jokic, because Jokic has Jamal Murray, has Michael Porter Jr., has Aaron Gordon, has all of these things. Shai does not, at least not on a consistent, regular basis. That matters. So I shouldn't be surprised, but I was. It was unfortunate that he didn't win the MVP, and I definitely think he should have. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of, and I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.